Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Today I'm going to talk to you about face screwing your decking versus a hidden clip system. So if you get something out of this video, don't forget, click that subscribe button. All right, so I just have a little mock-up here of, this is just an old glulam beam, a scrap. One way to fasten down, and probably, in my opinion, the best way to fasten down a deck board to your frame is face screwing. So if you're gonna face screw your deck and you still want a hidden fasten look, we use an awful lot of a product called Cortex made by a company called Fasten Master. They have a stainless steel Cortex kit. So it comes with a T20 stainless steel screw with a special driver bit, a T20 driver bit with a felt tip. The felt tip is a depth setting gauge, so it also sets your depth, but it also protects the decking with this felt collar that's around this as well. So as you drive the screw into the board, this stops it from damaging the decking and it puts it at the correct depth. So you can use combinations of these in a lot of settings when you're building a deck in case you can't decide or you're not sure which one to use. I'm just gonna help guide things along. So anytime I'm doing a waterproof bladder on a deck, I always use Cortex no matter what, because if I use a clip system, I'm going through additional thicknesses of rubber, silicone, caulking, sealants, and tape, and that could be up to a 1/4 inch more material, and I want something that's gonna really smash it down and be tight and hold it. Now, I didn't have any groove boards with me today, so I just grooved some real quick on the table saw, so it's not 100% accurate as far as the actual size of the groove, but I think you'll get the idea of the difference. Let's just say you're building this deck, and this is your joist system, and you're up against the house, or maybe you're starting your decking at the outside of the deck. I'm gonna put my Cortex screws on the first starter board. No matter what, I'm gonna start it like this, because I can't put a clip up against the house. Now, they do make a couple of systems that do have that ability to put clips up against the house, but I'll be honest with you, if you just run these Cortex screws and then you run the matching plugs, especially in this AZEK decking, they're really impossible to see. You're not really gonna have an issue with the look. Okay, so the first board up against the house is done. Then I would come back and take these matching plugs and I put them in the top of the deck like this. And now I'll go grab a hammer and I'll show you what happens. So usually when we're using a lot of Cortex, we use a mallet, not just a hammer. If you use a hammer and you have a heavy hand, you're gonna put shiny marks everywhere you hit these Cortex plugs down. And when the sun hits the decking a certain way, you'll actually be able to see all those light spots. So I consider using a mallet instead. You can get one for 14 bucks at Home Depot. There's two different compounds. There's a harder side and a softer side. So we usually go with the softer side. And if I need to, I can go back and turn it around with the harder side, just knock it down. So there's your first two, okay? First two screws are in, and now we're gonna go to a clip. So this is the Fasten Master 5-shot. There's several different clips on the market. There's manual clips, there's automatic shooting clips. Man, I can't tell you how many there are, but there's Tiger Claw, there's this system here, the Fusion Lock. They call this the 5-shot because it holds 5 clips. And you can see right here on the tip of this gun, the clip is ready to go, and then it actually shoots a scrail, which is a screw nail. So it shoots in like a nail, and it comes up like a screw, and it's in a coil that sets inside this gun in this basket. I'll come up, I'll get my first clip ready to go. I'll shoot that in. I'll get it on my next joist. I'll shoot that in, and then I'll put the next board in. Now these clips kind of have an automatic spacing of about 3/16 of an inch. But I will usually use spacers along with these boards so that I'm not over or under spacing the boards together. So because I have a deeper groove in my deck board, these clips are going down a little deeper, so it's giving me a little bit wider gap, but you get the idea. So then we'll go ahead and get the next board. Once this is tight, that goes in, and you just keep building your decking so on and so on throughout. When you're done and you're at the last board, again, you're gonna have to use a Cortex screw to finish your last board on the deck. And it's also my recommendation, if you're gonna do a clip system on a deck, you still want to Cortex all of your ends, because if not, you might get movement back and forth. Like, I don't know if I can do it, but if I hit this board hard enough, I can probably get it to move this way. Yeah. So I know this is just a small sample, but because you might get movement, when you're putting 10 or 12 clips, it's grabbing this board a lot better. This board's moving pretty easy. Usually they don't move that easy, but since I want to make sure those boards don't move at all, I'm going to go through, and I've seen people like put one in the middle, but I usually double up on my ends. Even if my screws aren't completely in a straight line, once I Cortex these, you're really not going to see them. Okay, so now all my ends are pinned. Now I'm going to go ahead and all these, you can see on the texture of the grain of these plugs, all the grains go in the same direction. So I want to make sure that I have these turned, the grain the right way, so that these all go in a similar direction. So I'm just going to tap them to get them started, and then go back and knock them in like so, and there you go. Now when you're standing 6 feet up or 5 feet up from this, you really don't see these Cortex plugs. And on this particular project we're on today, we're going to be doing the whole deck in the Cortex system because, like I said before, it is the absolute best way to fasten down a deck. I think it's better than doing any clip system. There's also a hand tool that Fasten Master makes for using if you don't have the gun and you want to do it this way, you can. It comes with screws and a bit, and it puts it at the correct depth, and it also snaps this off at the right time so that you can use these when you're closer to the house and the gun won't fit, or in certain situations where you have to use your hand tool. It basically does the same thing where you just put it up against here, drop your screw in, drive this in, and then it snaps, and then this clips off, and then you have your fastener ready to go. So in my opinion, I've done it both ways. If I'm doing a big deck and I'm not using a bladder, then we'll probably run the 5-shot, the fusion lock, and then we'll still Cortex every end of every board so that we know that those boards aren't moving back and forth. And then we'll speed up the installation process a little bit by not having to go back and put in all those plugs or as many screws. I know that in the future, Fasten Master is coming out with a collated system that will allow you to have all the screws that are going to be collated on a strip, and then it feeds through a gun, so it'll be very fast instead of having all these loose screws like I do in my hand, and we're not trying to feed them one at a time. You're just... So once that happens, the thing that I like about face screwing as well is I can lay 5 deck boards at one time. When I'm using a hidden fastener clip system, I'm usually only laying 1 board at a time when I'm doing this type of system. There's other systems out there that will allow me to also lay 5 deck boards at a time. I've also had some issues with some of the fasteners breaking or snapping, and then I've had to go back and fix those. I've never had to go back and fix a deck that has had stainless steel Cortex on it. Those are my opinions. I'm entitled to them. If you like them, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment below and let me know what you think about fastening decking and how you guys do it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.